Hi, everybody. Rebecca Nelson back with you once again with Becker Vineyards, doing another fabulous virtual tasting with you again this week. We're doing our 2017 Saigné this evening, which is a beautiful rosé. So I hope you have this lovely rosé in your glass and are swirling that most first taste. We've got a lot of people on tonight. We've got our owner again, Dr. Richard Becker. We have our winemaker, Jon Leahy, this evening. We also have our assistant winemaker enologist, Rachel Fanning, who's going to take over my spot here in just a minute. And as another fabulous surprise, we have another of our growers that you haven't met yet, Dr. Vijay Reddy. And they're going to be taking you through this fabulous blend. And I'm going to turn it over to them right now and get you guys started. I hope everybody enjoys the fabulous evening. Cheers.
Cheers, Rebecca. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And apologies to your mom and dad that you won't be on the entire time this time. So.
I'll be okay.
Doc, would you like to give us a few opening words before we get started, sir?
A few words. This is our 12th week of trying to remain as secluded as we can. Our tasting room is not yet open. Improvement of this pandemic in part of the country, accelerating in other states, including Texas. I think we should do everything that we can to remain as separate as we can, avoiding large crowds and closed spaces, obviously wearing our face masks. Unfortunately, we're just beginning, and it's going to be months and months before we're safe and free from this. In the interim, I want you to drink some wine with us today. And so our challenge is trying to make French wine in the German Hill Country with an Irish winemaker and an assistant winemaker from Fort Worth, with grapes produced by a soil scientist from southern India, grown in the high plains. This is a bug tussle. So John, tell me how you've done this, and Rachel.
Well, Doc, you just made the absolute perfect formula for an American wine. there is I think we've hit just about every corner of the globe on that one.
That's right. It's
and
real.
Let's not forget that you're from a suburb of Buffalo Gap called Abilene.
That's correct. That's correct.
Well, first, before we get going, I would like to introduce Dr. Reddy and his son Akhil. They're standing by in Lubbock.
Also Dr. Reddy.
And also Dr. Reddy, yes,
that's
absolutely. Right. But you know, if I say Dr. Reddy, people are going to think I'm on an episode of the Three Stooges. So I want to give everybody their due, but I want everybody to get to know the Reddys because they're fantastic. Vijay, I met back in 2012, and he just from the word go was out in that vineyard taking us down, and you know, no pause, no, you know. It's work, work, work. So Vijay, you're the hardest working person I know, honestly, and it makes me sweat just talking to you. So anyway, would you guys please introduce your vineyard to us and give us a little history?
Yes, John. As a soil scientist, I was a consultant and working with a lot of farmers up in a Terry County area, and also farming about a couple thousand acres. And then in 1997, a good friend, everybody knows, Neil Newsom, he was starting his vineyard a little bit, and he said, Vijay, why don't we start 5 acres for you guys? That time, 5 acres is, we thought that's a lot of acres. And then we planted those. And then after a couple, 3 years, we couldn't sell those grapes, where to go? And then we met a good friend of Dr. Becker's and a mutual friend, Bobby Cox, introduced us to Dr. Becker and Vinnie Becker. And then Dr. Becker was asking us, can you plant a few acres of VNA? We planted 3.5 acres for them since 97, did I said? Yeah. Yeah, since last 20 years, we've been supplying a VNA for Dr. Becker's. And this Cab and Merlot, we planted almost 2007.
Okay.
So it's about 13th leaf, 14th leaf. Producing, and it's on 1103P, both of them, Merlot and Cabs. Consistently was producing 3 to 4 tons to the acre. We are not big production people, and some years excellent, some years really good wines. That's what we've been trying to come up with. We have almost 300 plus acres right now, some new ones and starting since the last 23 years. So we ended up in a 37 varieties.
Yeah.
We may
Okay.
have-
Let's pause right there because Akhil, when we spoke back in January at the Hill Country Symposium, you had a beautiful chart showing all of the varietals. I had no idea, honestly. I mean, I concentrate on the varietals that we purchased from you, which are quite a few, but I did not know. So 38 varietals. Now, between the two of you, can you name all 38 of them? With no cheat sheet.
Yeah, paper.
Yeah, right.
John, Alianico to Zinfandel.
Right.
You can figure out about 36 of them in between.
Yeah, right. Well, we get so this wine, and I want everybody to swirl and sniff their glass, and give it a bit of a taste. So Rachel was kind enough to do a breakdown for this for us, and I want to get her on screen time because she is absolutely fantastic on keeping us organized. Not just keeping us organized, but to be honest with you, probably keeping me more honest than I want to be. Yeah, right. So Rachel, take us through the breakdown on this Saigné.
So you're actually going to have to help me out a little bit while I did create that and I did email it.
Here, I'll hold it up.
Yeah, thank you. I did not make a copy for myself.
Oh, are you kidding me? So it's in 95% Bordeaux varietals. Of
Right.
that 20,
This I do remember.
right. So we've got Merlot, Cabernet, Malbec, Cab Franc, and Tempranillo.
Right.
And Vijay's got two of those 5 varietals in here, his Cabernet and his Merlot. Well, I should say Vijay and Akhil. And I'm sorry, I keep thinking, every time I think Reddy Vineyards, I think Vijay. And then the one person I wanted everybody to meet, which is his lovely wife, Subhita, who's just absolutely the most beautiful person in the world. But the Merlot and the Cabernet. Yeah, exactly. We'll drink to that. The Merlot and the Cabernet that you guys provide go into some of our top end wines. And what we did, we took a little Saigné from here. So Rachel, take us through the Saigné process.
This I can do without a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
The Saigné process is whenever the grapes, the grapes are driven in, and I want to say it's probably a solid 6 hours from from the Doctor's Reddy's, from their vineyard to the Becker crush pad. Is easy. It's 6 hours if everything goes as planned. And so in that time, the grapes get a little crushed. They get a little juicy, and then we bring it in and we send it through our own crusher to simmer if that's what we need to do. Anyway, we get the grapes in a tank, and so there's quite a bit of just already first free run juice, and then we will take that and Saigné it, which literally means to bleed off. So we bleed off some of that juice. The original reason behind that is to concentrate the juice to grape ratio in the tank. Mm-hmm. And then, a byproduct is that we have this beautiful rosé out of all of these lovely red grapes that we're bringing in.
Yeah. So Doc, you have to tell the story behind the first Saigné. This is not the first Saigné, but close. It's our second one. The original Saigné Rosé. What the story behind that? I'm not letting you off the hook on this one either, pal.
You have a story in mind, or?
Well, when we went out to taste, so the original Saigné tank, guys. So Vijay and Akhil. So the original Saigné tank was literally, as Rachel explained, some of the bleeding process that we do, because I make red wine there, and we make Cabernets, Merlots, everything else, and we do try to increase the skin to juice ratio by taking just a little bit of juice, maybe 15-20 gallons per ton off of that tank. So in 10 tons, that's 150 gallons of juice. It doesn't sound like a lot. It's just enough to increase that concentration for the red wine. Well, we started putting all this Saigné into one tank, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm not going to worry about it. We'll just flush some of that juice down. It's not a problem. That's usually in a winery, half that Saigné goes away. We were making rosé from direct press at the time. So Rachel comes to me one day and says, hey, you know that tank that the Saigné juice that you weren't going to ferment? I was like, yeah. She goes, it's dry. It's fermented. It had to be that same week, Doc, that you came
Already.
in and tasted the tank. He goes, "Hey, this is really good. You guys did a great job." And I'm just thinking there, oh dear God, all that other hard work. I'm like, okay, yeah, we sweated over this one. But why? What appealed to you about this initially, the Saigné Rosé?
To me,
Yes, sir.
tonight, it's brilliant. It's incredibly clear and it's wonderfully aromatic. And you know, I remember sitting down with the Doctors Reddy and tasting through their 17 grapes, which were extraordinary.
Oh, they were absolutely are extraordinary.
And that's part of what's here. And to be able to make rosé from those great red grapes, Cabernet and Merlot and Cabernet Franc, they were just wonderful. And it's one of the nicest tasting sessions I've ever had with a grower. And so it's fun that we're able to make a small amount of rosé from those really superior grapes, I felt.
So, Akhil, I know you guys have a winery too, and things. Are you doing any rosés from those Cab and Merlots that we made the rosé from?
We have not. We have one rosé, and as you know, our estate winery is very, very small. Our rosé is a Provence-style rosé of Mourvedre and Cinsault.
Okay.
So it's a very different style. I think with
Yeah.
the Cabernet and Merlot, you're going to get more intense aromas and very different flavors, which we're tasting.
Yeah, and we do. And I noticed a lot of deep berries off of this. So, Rachel, give us your impressions on this wine, please.
Absolutely. It's really hard for me to talk about this wine without also comparing it and talking about our other rosés. You know, we now have 3 rosés: the Provençal, the Saigné, and the Jolie, and they each offer their own piece and play, I think, within our lineup. And one of the things that I like most about the Saigné, it's very much a medium body, where the Jolie, I think, is often a very big bodied rosé, and the Provençal, like you guys, Dr. Reddy, that it's more of a Provence style, so it's nice and crisp. I love how this always has nice, like, good, rich red fruit on the nose. I like that it's always a medium body rosé. This is one of the few wines that I like actually really, really cold, especially now. It's like 94, 96 degrees outside. This is really lovely.
It really is. And, you know, we just got a question too on, do we decant this rosé the same way we decant our other wines? Doc, would you decant this rosé since it's a 2017?
I probably wouldn't decant a rosé. I think chilling it, yes. I think there are only 2 wines that the French really serve iced. One is rosé and the other is champagne. And I think this is served very well by just being very cold.
Well, and I think that would be a beautiful combination to put a rosé champagne on ice and serve it. So maybe we should think about that.
Put that on your list.
Yeah. Do you see that stated look on his face? Because he knew that immediately meant we're not buying any more equipment. We're not building it.
Why don't we make gin, John?
Yeah. Well, we might be working on that. So, Vijay, what are your impressions of the wine? Did we do an okay job with your grapes, and what are your impressions of the wine overall?
You've been doing excellent job, John. And Rachel, thank you for saving that excellent rosé wine instead of going into the gutter.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Came out super.
Good. So so guys, so you have 300 acres. What are some of the challenges that you're facing there right in Brownfield? What are some of the things that that you would love to be able, if you just 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, but tell us some of the challenges that you have in growing the grapes there close to town. Is it any more unique than anybody else up there? Or what are some of the things you see that kind of, that are your biggest challenges?
It's a good growing soils in West Texas, no doubt, but we have a dangers like early frost, late frost, hail damage, all those kind of things. It's not as smooth as growing grapes in California or Napa. You know, right? You've been here for quite long. We face all those, but we are trying to grow the best grapes because our weather is super. We may have a 90-degree days, but nights are almost like 65, cools off.
Mhm.
It just cools the grapes and everything, and you can consistently produce good grapes, good quality. And I know Dr. Becker wants the best quality with high bricks levels and all that. We are trying all that. Some years, the weather-related ones like a late October, late September,
Right.
we may get into some of these hurricane seasons and some rain coming and all that. One or two times every 5 years, we may have to pick a little bit early, like 24, 23 rather than 20, 26, 27. I know you picked some of our Merlot 1 year, almost 30 bricks level. That's not
Yeah.
going to happen every year, but no, we could still produce the best wines,
It,
and you guys are making the top-notch wines, and we appreciate that.
well,
And
let me tell you something. The difference between 24 and 30 is huge in making wine, but the quality of your grapes is always very, very consistent. No, it's not ideal for 30. I get that, and I'm not going to get into an argument over that one. But what I'm saying is the range, even in those sugars, as vast as those sugars are, the quality is always in there. And what I always found amazing about walking your vineyard is being able to look down the rows. And one of the things that I like to look at are the shadows that come through to see, are there any misses in the row? How consistent it is, and how very consistent it is row to row, regardless of the varietal, very well cultivated. The thing that I love, and even though it's not in this wine and we're talking about the Saigné, one of the things I absolutely love up there, the two varietals are the Sauvignon Blanc and the Cab Franc that you guys do. And there is a tiny amount of Cab Franc in here, but I'm always amazed up in that area, in Brownfield area and stuff, how intensely flavored the Bordeaux varietals are. And that makes a great rosé. Oddly enough, the very first Saigné we made by accident. The second one, this one we made on purpose. The 2017 was such a rich and intense year. This is, as Rachel said, a nice medium-bodied wine, but it amazes me as a rosé how long it's lasted. This is probably as dark as you're going to go and get away with calling it rosé. But the body is there, the flavors are there, and it's lasted quite a long time in bottle. And that just it's kind of a hoot that we've got a rosé that's almost 3 years old, and it's just as fresh as the day it was when we first made it. So, Doc, back to you, if you wouldn't mind. I want to try to be consistent on some of the questioning here. I've always asked what your inspiration was with each varietal, because to display one, how hands-on you and Joe are with the winery, but more importantly, what was the inspiration behind adding a rosé to the Becker lineup?
I think it was almost certainly having been in Provence before we were, I guess we'd start to plant the vineyard, and we had not yet grown any grapes, and being in the region around Avignon and tasting the great rosés there. And two stories that I always remember. One is driving in July across that part of Provence. It's 105 degrees in the afternoon, stopping at a little roadside restaurant, sit down at an outside table under a plane tree, and they always bring a stone carafe that's ice cold, full of rosé. Just put it down on the table with 2 glasses, no questions asked. And I loved that. The other thing was stopping in some of the cooperatifs in that part of France where there were gasoline pumps. One pumped rosé, one pumped white wine, probably Roussanne, and the other pumped a red wine. And you just put your container down, they weighed it and put the gasoline pump in and filled it up. And that's what we should be doing, John.
Now, for a second there, I thought that the French had finally invented an alternative fuel. I was like, one powered car.
It's possible. But anyway, I think we were maybe first or among the very first to start to make rosé, just because our climate is so much like that part of France. And we've had 12 or 15 rosé festivals at the winery, which has been a lot of fun. And it's been fun to see more Texas rosés appear and be very competitive. But I think we're really inspired by France with that part of the Rhone Valley, and loving the wine. I think that's really been our driving interest in almost every wine that we've made.
And I can fully appreciate that. I was just smiling about the stone carafe of rosé, 2 glass. I mean, to me, that's like an ideal afternoon right there. You just named one of those golden moments. A nice bottle of wine.
It's like when you stop at Waco, they bring out Dr. Pepper. It's a different culture.
People are going to come down to the winery and hate on us if you keep teasing about Waco.
I grew up in Abilene. This is pointed out.
So,
I have a question.
yes.
If you don't mind. Akhil, so we talk often with Joe Becker, and he tells a lot of memories about how he got the opportunity. I'm not sure it's surprising, how he got all of the awesome opportunities to spend all of his spring breaks and summers at the vineyard planting. And I'm wondering if you have some really awesome stories to tell as well.
Oh yeah, we grew up there in the summers and the free time. We were training those grapes, and I think the Becker Viognier is some of the first grapes. I have a twin sister as well, so we'd get thrown out in there, start tying those vines and putting covers over them, and started learning. So luckily, Lubbock weather's dry heat. We're extremely dry heat, no humidity, but it'll get 99, 100, 102. And so our mom's always, yelling at my dad, get him out of there. We don't want him to work too hard, but my dad's like, no, this is how they're going to learn.
Wow, well, mom and dad for everybody.
Good job.
VJ, I'm with you, VJ. Yeah.
I don't know if it was a scare tactic to get us all to go into different industries, mostly medical industry, by throwing us in the farm. And we all did, but guess what? We came back, and I'm back, and I love it. The vineyard is just such a beautiful, serene place, and it's that's tied back to our childhood memories of growing there, picnicking, playing around, and we didn't really understand what harvest was and why Dad was there at 4 a.m. and didn't come home for a couple days at a time during harvest, but now I do. I don't know how intense it is, from the winemakers to the operations team to the growers and everybody working together. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you have to deal with winemakers at harvest too, and they're a fickle bunch, aren't they?
That's probably the most intense part.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that every kid's got that story about, oh, my dad made me work, blah blah blah. I'm like, Akhil, you are the most expensive labor your dad has ever paid for.
But he did let me start driving his truck when I was like 12 or 13. So I always wanted to go to the farm.
Yeah, see, there's always a bonus. There's always an upside, buddy.
And let me just say to VJ, we got the opportunity, VJ, to send him to college, medical school, dental school, right?
Yes. What a great opportunity. So there was a question on here just a minute or two ago. What other varietals wines do we make from the Reddy Vineyard? And so Rachel, you want to lead in on, of the 4,500 SKUs that we do, 3,999 of them have Reddy grapes in them, I think.
Right, of their 38 varietals that they're producing, we bring in quite a chunk. And Dr. Reddy has, in my time since I've been at Becker, has always been one of our largest growers. So definitely the Bordeaux varietals. Our Cabernet Sauvignon, our Merlot, of course, Malbec, Tempranillo, Petit Verdot, that glorious Viognier and Sauvignon Blanc. Okay, keep going. Just to name a few.
Yeah, we did sold to you guys some Mourvèdre and Grenache.
Absolutely,
Marceau and
You bet.
So we have made
Carignan. It's part of our 3 C's program.
Yep, we've made a Reddy Vineyard designated Merlot. We've a lot of their grapes go into our claret, so they also go into the Texas Cab that we put out in the marketplace. Of course, the rosé here, the Viognier, both the reserve as well as the regular market. So they're in quite a few. So the beautiful thing about our job, about Rachel's and my jobs, are the fact that we get to paint with such a broad palette of so many different wines, so many different varietals, and it really is fun to be able to narrow down like what's is this combination better than this combination than this combination? It's a lot of permutations, but Vijay's been the backbone in quite a few things. The Reddy Vineyards has certainly been an extraordinary relationship for us. So on that note, Vijay and Akhil, I'm going to put you on the hot seat, guys. You have this wine, you've tried it. What food would you pair with it?
I would actually like to pair this with trout. And,
Yeah. How would you prepare it? Grilled, poached?
High heat grill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, you know that dry heat that you have in Lubbock? That's called a convection oven, buddy.
That'll do the job.
So trout, that sounds pretty good. BJ, what about you?
I'm a fish lover. I mean, I can eat the trout and even salmon. Also, I would love to have this. This, when you chill, this wine is just awesome. Just a crispiness and dryness, and then I love it.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, Doc, I've got to ask you, what would you pair with the Saigné Rosé?
I love Indian food. If I went to a wonderful Indian restaurant and they brought out this wine, really chilled, I would come back for again. I mean, I think.
What region of India do you prefer?
The southern part.
The no. No, really? Okay. So Rachel, what about you? What kind of food?
So I initially was thinking a nice crisp salad with maybe some sliced strawberries, some little candied pecans. And then I heard trout and salmon, and that sounds amazing.
It does,
So I
doesn't
will
it?
stick with my salad, but yes, the fish is lovely too.
So I'm going to go on the fish bandwagon here too, but I'm going to be very specific because I've had it with this. One, monkfish, which I really dearly love. And
swordfish, John.
No, we don't eat primary predators. We don't eat those. Bad. But you're right, it would be good with swordfish. But the other fish for me would be halibut on there. It's kind of meaty. It's kind of nice. I don't think the trout would be a bad choice at all. I'm just saying on the fish bandwagon, there's a wide variety that you could do with this wine. Anything spicy too, you know, a good Tex-Mex spice, the rosé kind of helps cool that. I think that's why, you know, there are some Indian dishes that are spicier than others that may break this wine, but, you know, you have a really nice variety of spicy food, be it Southeast Asian, subcontinent Indian, Indonesian, even Southwest American. There are a lot of great dishes that would go well with this. So anything spicy, mild to moderate spicy would do very, very well with this. So one question we did have, Dungeness crab. Somebody just mentioned Dungeness crab online. It's like,
It's clearly dinner time.
I know, right? We're all getting, what are we going to eat tonight? So another one, guys, with this rosé, with the Saigné especially, your holiday dinners. Think winter holidays, be it, you know, the St. Stephen's.
Turkey. You're trying to say turkey, John.
Well, no, I was thinking starting with, for me, holiday season starts on the 19th of September and goes through the 6th of January.
Yeah.
So it starts
We've
with
noticed that.
It starts with Talk Like a Pirate Day, and it goes all the way through to 12th night. So, but yeah, turkey, goose, ham. It would certainly go with any of those traditional dishes. Absolutely. Okay, guys, I think we haven't had too many questions. We've had a lot of people, shrimp bisque, shrimp and grits, turkey, shrimp and grits. Come on, really? Absolutely, would go with shrimp and grits. So, Vijay, Akhil, so briefly, how are you looking forward to? I realize this harvest is going to be tough, but give us an upbeat note about this harvest.
You're still looking for
Next question.
No, what happened is late last October, there was some heavy cold weather that hit the vines after harvest, and it was one of the latest harvests on record.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe in your whole history of growing.
Yeah, we went all the way to mid-October, some harvesting some grapes. Those are the ones hit really hard, like Marsanna, the early picked ones, Pinot Grigio. We have a full production. The ones we harvested late, like Montepulciano, Cabernet, even Cab Franc, they hit really hard.
Right.
The buds were just froze out. So we are not going to have any great amount of fruit this year. But luckily, our wines, they didn't die completely. We are retraining them, hoping next year we'll have a good production. But this year, those red ones, the big red ones, we're not going to have much fruit. But all the whites, excellent. They're doing good.
Good, wonderful.
Good. Well, we really do appreciate it. And I think as we go along in this life, we gain a better appreciation for the farmer and the farming end of it and how tough it really is. So we do, guys, we really are very grateful for all of your hard work, and we're very happy to be in partnership with you. So on that lovely note, Doc, any final words for this evening?
No, but I want to say what a treat it's been to work with the people that we work with, and especially wonderful family like the Reddys. And I just want to say thank you, Vijay and Akhil, and let's keep it up.
And Akhil, one final thing. You go home tonight and tell your mom thank you for intervening with your dad and about the forced labor issue.
Thank you. You all have a great evening.
Cheers, guys, and to everybody, great health and good wine. Thanks for joining us again for another broadcast. Good night.
Thanks, John.
Good night. Appreciate it.